We see patterns literally everywhere, on our clothes, in art, on the buildings all around us. But what if some of those patterns were more than just pretty decorations? What if they were actually a language, a history, a direct line to the ancestors? Well, today we're going to decode the hidden language of Tongan design.
I mean, just think about that for a second. What if a simple geometric shape wasn't just a shape, but a whole story? A story about powerful kings, about gods living up in the sky, and even about the constellations that guided an entire people across the massive Pacific Ocean.
Well, the key to unlocking this whole language is a single word: KUPESI. These are the traditional geometric designs of Tonga. And trust me, they're not just random patterns. Each one is packed with centuries of cultural, historical, and spiritual meaning. They're the very building blocks of a visual heritage. All right, so if we're going to understand KUPESI, we've got to start at the very top. We need to look at the most powerful designs of all, what you could almost think of as a kind of royal code. Okay, check this out. This right here is the big one, the Fatato Tui Tonga, also known as the Royal Master KUPESI. Now, what's so incredible is where this pattern actually comes from. It's a top-down view of the royal tombs of the ancient Tui Tonga dynasty. I mean, it is literally a blueprint of royalty. So you've got to understand this was never just some pretty pattern to look at. To see this design was to see power itself, to see the divine authority, and the entire historical legacy of the Tui Tonga kings. It was basically a visual declaration of their sacred right to rule. And yeah, the Fata Oe Tui Tonga is the master for sure. But then you have these others, like Manulua, Toloa, and Humu. But what's so fascinating is that most of them are actually considered variations of that one royal master KUPESI. And that's a super important detail, because it visually reinforced the idea that all power and all identity flowed directly from the king.
But hold on, because the story doesn't just end on Earth. Not even close. You could actually say it begins up in the heavens. Because these patterns aren't just a royal code. They're also a map of the cosmos.
See, the core belief here was that the Tongan kings, the Tui Tonga, they weren't just regular humans. Their lineage was said to have come down directly from the sky, from a celestial being. So their authority wasn't just earthly, it was considered divine. And this whole connection, it was a two-way street. The belief was that when a Tui Tonga king died, their soul wouldn't just disappear. Nope, it would journey back home, to the very constellations in the sky where their ancestors first came from. Okay, and this is where it all just clicks into place. It's so cool. So many of these KUPESI designs share their names with actual constellations. The pattern called Humu is also the constellation Humu. Toloa is the constellation Toloa, which we know today as the Southern Cross. The designs they created on Earth were a direct reflection of the heavens, a daily visual link connecting the people to their gods and their ancestors. So we've got designs that represent royalty and designs that map out the stars. But where was this sacred language most famously written? Well, on the human body itself. We're talking about the art of tatatau, the traditional Tongan practice of tattooing. And let me tell you, this was not for everybody. Historically, it was reserved for chiefs and other high-ranking people. It was a permanent marker of who they were, their lineage, and their social standing. You had these incredibly skilled tattoo artists, known as tufunga tatatau, who would meticulously, and I mean meticulously, recreate these sacred KUPESI designs right onto the skin. A person's body literally became a living canvas, telling the story of their connection to their family, their history, and the entire cosmos, all through these amazing geometric patterns. But the journey of this art form, wow, it's been a real roller coaster. The big, extensive male tattoo, the pea, was actually introduced from Samoa way back in the 17th century. But then, in the 19th century, with the rise of Christianity, the king officially banned it. And for a long time, it was almost lost. But now, today, we're seeing this incredible, powerful cultural revival as a new generation rediscovers and breathes new life into this tradition. So this revival is amazing, but it also brings these ancient sacred designs crashing into our modern, globalized world. And that, of course, raises some really important questions about how we all interact with them today. As these powerful symbols start showing up everywhere, we have to ask a really important question, right? When does admiring something beautiful turn into misusing it? How do we honor a culture without accidentally appropriating its most sacred symbols? And really, the guidance from within the culture is crystal clear. It's all about appreciation,
not appropriation. And that means you have to approach these designs with genuine respect, taking the time to understand where they come from, and acknowledging the deep, powerful stories they carry. So, look, if you take away just one thing from all this, let it be this. Tongan KUPESI are not just tribal patterns. They are a living, breathing visual language. They represent an incredibly rich cultural heritage, a real connection to ancestors, and an identity that is deeply, deeply valued and cherished by the Tongan people. And that just leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We all know a pattern can be a piece of art, but what we've seen here shows us something so much deeper. It really asks us to think, when does a pattern stop being just a design, and when does it become a piece of a people's soul?